Yo, good morning, y'all. I just got a call. I got the job. I got a job. Oh my god. I got a job, bro. I just woke up, called her back. She said I could start tomorrow. So I'm starting tomorrow. Probably 8 a.m., you know. Like I said, I just woke up, so I look a little bit crazy. Look like a mess. But yeah, I start the new job tomorrow. I'm kind of excited. Yeah, let's get this money, man. Let's run it up. Let's do something good. You feel me? Let's make our dreams come true. All we need is the money. And now that we got a job, we can start making some real money, start doing some real things, unlock new characters, unlock new scenery, unlock, unlock more. You know what I'm saying? So let's get this shit. Let's do this. And yeah, let's stack up. You know what I'm saying? Time to save. Time to stack. Yo, what's good, y'all? So I just got myself together. You feel me? Just got myself ready for the day. I had got a call early this morning saying that I got the job at this dispensary. I'll be doing inventory shifts. First part of the job, like training and whatnot, is going to be earlier in the morning. I actually start tomorrow at 8 a.m., I think. She has to send me the schedule, hopefully soon. But yeah, I start tomorrow. It'll be morning shifts. And then after that, after the training is over, then I'll be doing night shifts, okay, from like 2 to 9 p.m. But I'm really excited because, you know what I'm saying, I need this money. I need to get things done. And I just really want my life to become better. And this is the way, you know what I'm saying? Not working a 9 to 5, but also like, at some point you have to have that plan B to fall back on when plan A just needs help. You know what I'm saying? So, and I hated thinking like that for the longest time, but as I'm maturing and whatnot, it's like you genuinely cannot just live as a freelance photographer. It just doesn't really work. You do a lot of just shows for free. You do a lot of other things for free. A lot of people don't really mess with you. Nobody hits you up for photo shoots. None of that. So I'm just like, bro, I have to lock in elsewhere and do other things, and this is part of it, you know what I'm saying? And if people, you know what I'm saying, want to hit me up or whatever for photo shoots, and you feel me, they'll have to work around my schedule now. But I think that this is also just going to help me become a better man, right? Locking in with a 9 to 5, getting some money, getting money in my pockets, doing other things, being able to travel, being able to do things and fund other activities, you know, and I just don't want to be outside no more, you know what I'm saying? Unless it's doing something fun and doing something that'll genuinely fulfill my soul and also like push me to do better and other things, you know what I'm saying? So get ready for these gym vlogs, get ready for all these things that are coming with this job, because this will unlock another, just a new story, a new chapter, you know what I'm saying? So with that being said, don't really have much that I'm doing today. I will probably be reading a book a little bit later, so y'all be seeing that. And yeah, for now I'm gonna just chill. I'm gonna try getting some other things together, wait for this email. I'm probably gonna go grab some food and then come back home, and then I'll be here. So I'll probably pick y'all up in a little bit. Yo, what's good, y'all? Welcome back to the Life of Turin. Today is currently day 14 of 365. Or no, today is day 15. Today's day 15 of 365. I'm going to be reading a chapter from A Man Thinketh. This book is, to sum it up, it basically helps you master your destiny. This is the book that I read the other day when I went to the park. But yeah, it talks very like Shakespeare-ish, but it's a very good book and basically like getting things that you want and basically just understanding your destiny and things like that. I do forget which chapter I'm on, so I will go with just the last chapter that I left off on, the signs of self-control. We live in a scientific age. Men of science are numbered by thousands, and they are ceaselessly searching and analyzing and experimenting with a view to discovery and the increase of knowledge. The shelves of libraries, both public and private, are heavy with their load of imposing volumes on scientific subjects, and the wonderful achievements of modern science are always before us. And the wonderful achievements of modern science are always before us, whether in our homes or in our streets, in country or town, on land or sea. There shall we have been there there shall we have before us some marvelous device, some recent accomplishment of science, for adding to our comfort, increasing our speed, or saving the labor of our hands. Yet, with all our vast store of scientific knowledge and its startling and rapidly increasing results in the world of discovery and invention, there is, in this age, one branch of science which has so far fallen into decay to have become Yet with all our vast store of scientific knowledge and its startling and rapidly increasing results in the world of discovery and invention, there is, in this age,
one branch of science which has so far fallen into decay as to have become almost forgotten, a science, nevertheless, which is of greater importance than all of other sciences combined, and which all science would without which all science would but subserve the end of selfishness and aid in man's destruction. I refer to the science of self-control. Our modern scientists study the elements and forces which are outside themselves, with the object of controlling and utilizing them. The ancients studied the elements and forces which were within themselves, with a view to controlling and utilizing them, and the ancients produced such mighty masters of knowledge in this direction, that to this day they are held in reverence as gods, and the vast religious organizations of the world are based upon their achievements. Wonderful as are forces in nature, Wonderful as are the forces in nature, they are vastly inferior to the combination of intelligent forces which comprise the mind of man, and which dominate and direct the blind mechanical forces of nature. Therefore, it follows that to understand, control, and direct the inner forces of passion, desire, will, and intellect, it is to be in possession of destinies of men and nations. As in ordinary science, there are, in this divine science, degrees of attainment, and a man is great in knowledge, great in himself, and great in his influence on the world, in the measures that he is great in self-control. He who understands and dominates the forces of external nature is the natural scientist. But he who understands and dominates the internal forces of the mind is the divine scientist. And the laws which operate in gaining knowledge of external experiences operate also in gaining a knowledge of internal varieties. A man cannot become an accomplished scientist in a few weeks or months, nay, not even in a few years, but only after many years of painstaking investigation can he speak with authority and be ranked among the master of science. Likewise, a man cannot acquire self-control and become possessed of the wisdom and peace-giving knowledge which that self-control confers, but by many years of patient labor, a labor which is all the more arduous. Arduous? What does arduous mean? Arduous, involving or requiring strenuous effort, difficult and tiring. A labor which is all the more arduous because it is silent, and both unrecognized and unappreciated by others. And he who would pursue this science successfully must learn to stand alone, and to toil unrewarded, as far as any outward emolument is concerned. Emolument. A salary, fee, or profit from employment office. He who would pursue the science successfully must learn to stand alone and to toil unrewarded as far as any outward emolument is concerned. The natural scientist pursues in requiring his particular kind of knowledge the following 5 orderly and sequential steps. Emolument and arduous are the 2 words that we just learned. arduous meaning tiring and difficult, emolument meaning a salary, fee, or profit from employment office. The natural scientist pursues in acquiring his particular kind of knowledge the following 5 orderly and sequential steps. Number 1, observation. That is, he closely and persistently observes the facts of nature. Number 2, experiment. Having become acquainted by repeated observations with certain facts, he experiments with those facts, with a view to the discovery of the natural laws. He puts his facts through rigid processes of analysis and so finds out what is useless and what of value, and he rejects the former and retains the latter. Number 3, classification. Having accumulated and verified a mass of facts by numberless observations and experiments, he commences to classify those facts to arrange them in orderly groups with the object of discovering some underlying law, some hidden and unifying principle, which governs, regulates, and binds together these facts. Number 4, deduction. Thus he passes on to the 4th step of deduction. From the facts and results which are before him, he discovers certain invariable modes of action, and thus reveals the hidden laws of things. Number 5, knowledge. Having proven and established certain laws, it may be said of such a man that he knows he is a scientist, a man of knowledge. But the attainment of scientific knowledge is not the end. Great as it is, men do not attain knowledge for themselves alone, nor to keep it locked secretly in their hearts, like a beautiful jewel in a dark chest. The end of such knowledge is use, service, the increase of comfort and happiness of the world. Thus, when a man has become a scientist, he gives the world the benefit of his knowledge and unselfishly bestows upon mankind the results of his labors. Thus, beyond knowledge, there is a further step of use, that is, the right and unselfish use of the knowledge acquired, the application of knowledge to invention for the common weal. It will be noted that the 5 steps or processes enumerated follow in orderly succession, and that no man can become a scientist who omits any one of them. Without the first step of systematic observation, for instance, he cannot even enter the realm of knowledge of nature's secrets at first. At first, the searcher for such knowledge has before him a universe of things. These things he does not understand. Many of them, indeed, seem to be irreconcilably irreconcilably in a way that makes agreement, adjustment,
irreconcilably,
meaning they are so different from each other that it is not possible to believe or have both of them. Excuse me. These things she does not understand. Many of them, indeed, seem to be irreconcilably opposed one to the other, and there is apparent confusion. But by patiently and laboriously pursuing these 5 processes, he discovers the order, nature, and essences of things, perceives the center law or laws which bind them together in harmonious relationship, and so puts an end to the confusion and ignorance. As with the natural scientist, so with the divine scientist, he must pursue with the same self-sacrifice and diligence 5 progressive steps in the attainment of self-knowledge, self-control. These 5 steps are the same as with the natural scientist, but the process is reversed. The mind, instead of being centered upon external things, is turned back upon itself, and the investigations are pursued in the realm of mind, of one's own mind. instead of in that of matter. At first, the searcher for divine knowledge is confronted with the mass of desires, passions, emotions, ideas, and intellections, which he calls himself, which is the basis of all his actions and from which his life proceeds. The combination of invisible yet powerful forces appears confusedly. Some of them some of them stand, apparently in direct conflict with each other, without any appearance or hope of of reconciliation. I know that word. What is that word? Reconciliation.
Reconciliation.
Reconciliation. The restoration of friendly relations. The action of making one view or belief compatible with another. Without any appearance or hope of reconciliation, his mind in its entirety too, which his life with his life his mind in its entirety too, with his life, which proceeds from that mind, does not seem to have any equitable relation to many others' minds and lives about him, and lives about him. And altogether there is a condition of pain and confusion from which he would fain escape. Thus he begins by keenly realizing his state of ignorance, for no one could acquire either natural or divine knowledge if he were convinced that without study or labor he already possessed it. With such perception of one's ignorance, there comes a desire for knowledge, and the novice in self-control enters upon the ascending pathway in which are the following 5 steps. Thus he begins by keenly realizing his state of ignorance, for no one could acquire either natural or divine knowledge if he were convinced that with study or labor he already possessed it. Without these, which are following these 5 steps. 1. Introspection. This coincides with the observation of the natural scientist. The mental eye is turned like a searchlight upon the inner things of the mind, and its subtle and ever-varying processes are observed and carefully noted. This stepping aside from selfish gratifications, from the excitements of worldly pleasures and ambitions, in order to observe with the object of understanding one's nature, is the beginning of self-control. Hetero. What is that? Until now or until the point of time in the discussion.
Hitherto.
Hitherto, the man has been blindly and impotently borne along by the impulses of his nature, the mere creature of things and circumstances, but now he puts a check upon his impulses and, instead of being controlled, begins to control. Number 2, self-analysis. Having observed the tendencies of the mind, they are then closely examined and are put through a rigid process of analysis. The evil tendencies, those that produce painful effects, are separated from the good tendencies, those that produce peaceful effects, and the various tendencies with the particular actions they produce and the definite results which invariably spring from these actions are gradually grasped by the understanding, which is at last enabled to follow them in their swift and subtle interplay and profound ramifications. It is a process of testing and proving, and, for the searcher, a period of being tested and proved. Number 3, adjustment. By this time, the practical student of things divine has clearly before him every tendency and aspect of his nature, down to the profoundest promptings of his mind and the most subtle motives of his heart. There is not a spot or corner left which he has not explored and illuminated with the light of self-examination. He is familiar with every weak and selfish point, every strong and virtuous quality, It is considered the height of wisdom to be able to see ourselves as others see us. But the practitioner of self-control goes far beyond this. He not only sees himself as others see him, he sees himself as he is. Thus, standing face to face with himself, not striving to hide away from any secret fault, no longer defending himself with pleasant flatteries, neither underrating nor overrating himself or his powers, and no more cursed with self-praise or self-pity. He sees the full magnitude of the task which lies before him, sees dearly ahead of the heights of self-control, and knows what work he has to do to reach them. He is no longer in a state of confusion, but has gained a glimpse of the laws which operate in the world of thought, and he now begins to adjust his mind in accordance with those laws. This is a process of weeding, sifting, cleansing. As the farmer weeds, cleans, and prepares the ground for his crops, so the student removes the weeds of evil from his mind, cleanses and purifies in preparatory to sowing the seeds of righteous actions, which shall produce the harvest of a well-ordered life. Number 4. Righteousness. Having adjusted his thoughts and deeds to those minor laws which operate in mental activities in the production of pain and pleasure, unrest and peace, sorrow and bliss, he now perceives that there is involved in those laws one great central law, which, like the law of gravitation in the natural world, is supreme in the world of mind, a law to which all thoughts and deeds are subservient and by which they are regulated and kept in their proper sphere. This is the law of justice or righteousness, which is universal and supreme to the law he now conforms. Instead of thinking and acting blindly as the nature is stimulated and appealed to by outward things, he subordinates his thoughts and deeds to this central principle. He no longer acts for himself, but does what is right, what is universally and eternally right. He is no longer the abject slave of his nature and circumstances. He is the master of his nature and circumstances. He is no longer carried hither and thither. Hither. To or towards, situated on the side.
Hither.
Hither.
Thither.
He is no longer carried hither and thither on the forces of his mind. He controls and guides those forces to the accomplishments of his purpose, thus having his nature in control and subjection, not thinking thoughts nor doing deeds which oppose the righteous law, and which therefore that law annuls with suffering and defeat. He rises above the dominion of sin and sorrow, ignorance and doubt, and is strong, calm, and peaceful. Number 5. Pure knowledge. By thinking right and acting right, he proves by experience the existence of the divine law, on which the mind is framed, and which the guiding and unifying principle in all human affairs and events, whether individual or national. Thus, by perfecting himself in self-control, he acquired divine knowledge. He reaches the point where it may be said of him, as of the natural sciences, that he knows. He has mastered the science of self-control and has brought knowledge of ignorance has brought knowledge out of ignorance, order out of confusion. He has acquired that knowledge of self which includes knowledge of all men, that knowledge of one's own life, which embraces knowledge of all lives, as for all minds are the same in essence, differing only in degree, are framed upon the same law and the same thoughts and acts, by whatsoever individual thoughts are wrought, will always produce the same results. But this divine and peace-bestowing knowledge, as in the case of the natural scientist, is not gained for oneself alone. For if this were so, the aim of evolution would be frustrated, and it is it is not in the nature of things to fall short of ripening and accomplishments. And indeed, he who thought to gain this knowledge solely for his own happiness would most surely fail. So beyond the fifth step of pure knowledge, there is a still further one of wisdom, which is the right application of the knowledge acquired, the pouring out upon the world unselfishly and without stint. The result of one's labors thus accelerating progress and uplifting humanity. It may be said of men who have who have not gone back into their own nature to control and purify it, that they cannot clearly distinguish between good and evil, right or wrong. They reach after those things which they think will give them pleasure, and try to avoid those things which they believe will cause them pain. The source of their actions is self, and they only discover the source of their actions is self, and they only discover right painfully in a fragmentary way, by periodically passing through severe sufferings and lashings of conscience. But he who practices self-control, passing through the five processes, which are five stages of growth, gains that knowledge which enables him to act from the moral law which sustains the universe. He knows good and evil, right and wrong, and thus knowing them, lives in accordance with good and right. He no longer needs to consider what is pleasant or what is unpleasant, but does what is right. His nature in harmony with his conscience. His nature is in harmony with his conscience, and there is no remorse. His mind is unison with the great law, and there is no more suffering and sin. For him evil ended, and good is all in all. God. I don't know if y'all understood that, but brother, that was kind of fire. Like, it just hits. I don't know if y'all understood that, but I'm not gonna lie. This book is really good. This book is really great. It kind of just talks to you in a different way. It kind of just like gives you a different mind frame, and like it helps you out in a way that you don't even really understand. But like when you read it and you kind of adjust and kind of just like think about those things that it's speaking about, and I think not for nothing, reading out loud is very good. Reading out loud kind of like gives you more sense of what it means. It kind of speaks power into it. It gives those words power than just like reading it on the page. Um, but yeah, bro, I don't know if y'all really understood that, but basically, like, and it's kind of even hard just to go back. It was so much to like just gain from that little bit, but it basically gave you different laws to follow, right? And once you start to believe in these and observe yourself from the outside looking in or the inside looking out, and just understand what you are in your mind and the things that come to you and whatnot, they all kind of just fit together. It's kind of like a puzzle piece, right? And that's also why I do like this book a lot, because not everything I understand, you know what I'm saying? But once you plug in the things where they need to go, and kind of like fully use the rules and the lessons that these books teach you, you kind of follow those lanes, you know what I'm saying? You kind of just pick up the things along the way and kind of are like, oh shit, like this is that. You know, like there was a certain part in it that was talking about just like knowing the good from the bad and the rights from the wrongs, and kind of like taking that step in. And I feel like I've done that, you know what I'm saying, unknowingly. Have just always been a person of knowledge, right? Wanting to know more, gaining the knowledge, and it may make me a natural scientist, right? The Just me wanting to know more to just better myself, right? But then also knowing that I'm not selfish with anything. And that is also one of the points of this channel, right? Is to not be selfish with what I know and preach what I do know to give out, because if I learn all these things for myself and never help anybody, then what does that do for myself? You know, if my whole point is to help somebody somewhere, you know? And that doesn't mean that's the whole like summary of that chapter. But like for myself, I feel like there are certain parts that kind of just hit differently. And who knows, if y'all watched this and y'all was listening to that part, maybe y'all, you know what I'm saying, maybe y'all would know what he's doing for you too, you feel me? But um yeah, I just wanted to read this book today. That is one chapter from As A Man Thinketh. I hope it affected y'all in some way. And you feel me? I stumbled a little bit along the way, but I hope that y'all could bear with me and just understand where I'm coming from. And I hope that this helps. You feel me? But Today is currently day 15 of the Life of Turin. I appreciate y'all for sticking by, listening to me yap, listening to me read out loud. And yeah, I'm gonna end this here. So yeah, I'll catch y'all when I catch y'all. See y'all when I see y'all. Peace.